Yes, this is a stack of 13 books beside me. And yes, I am terrified. So I'm an English major, which is both good and bad. I've been a not English major before, and textbooks can be really, really expensive, like $200 each expensive. The good news is you can usually sell them back. The bad news about being an English major, that's also the good news, is that my textbooks aren't expensive. Like, I mean, they're more expensive than if I probably bought them on like Abe Books or Thrift Books, but like a $9 novel is a lot cheaper than a $200 textbook. The bad news is I can't really sell them back. So I still have a lot of my textbooks from last fall, but again, the good news of the bad news is I'm going to be an English teacher, so if I just take good notes, those can be useful in future classes. I have a stack of 13 books here. I'm not a math major and I can't count. But I think it's 13 or 14 last I checked. And for 3 out of my 6 classes. One of my classes is a practicum course, which means I don't have a textbook. I just have to do in-person observations of the classroom. The other one is technology and education, and we don't have any information on that. So I'm assuming we probably don't have a textbook. And the third one is, oh my God, I can't even count my own classes. I don't have 6 classes. I'm taking 5 classes. That's how bad this is. These are for 3 classes. Those are the 2 classes that don't have textbooks. Now that we're all unified in me being stupid, let's talk about these books. First class that I'm going to cover is my only online class. I don't really like taking online classes because I'm not a very responsible person, and keeping me accountable for an online course is a losing battle. But I wanted to take it because I wanted to take other courses, and if I didn't take this online one, I'd have to take other ones in person. You know what I'm saying? Like the other 2 I'm taking in person, I wanted to take more than what I could have taken instead of this. Stay with me. I'm not really into classics. I've read some of the things that are going to be included in these books, but I don't know if we're going to be reading those. I haven't got a single syllabus yet, and we start in like a week. So that's not comforting. But it's introduction to the classics, so it's going to cover a bunch of stuff. This is Great Dialogues of Plato. So I'm sure that's going to be super fun. We also have the Aeneid of Virgil. I don't know. The like portable Greek histories with fun little notes from whoever had this class last time. This is what I have a lot of. Anthologies and, you know, collections and things like that, where it has like little bits of other things, or it's like, this is the stuff you need to know, but then these other people come out with a book and they're like, these are the stuff you need to know about this, and it's like, why can't we all just get together, form one canon, and so I can stop buying like 50 different books to tell me the same thing. It's frustrating. But anyway, I'm assuming this is going to be basically like the dictionary for that class. Oh, all of these are used, by the way. All of them. 13 books cost me, I think, $141. Lit. This is Greek tragedies, and this is where I'm excited because it has Oedipus the King in it and Antigone, which I have both read and acted out before in various other classes. I love both of them, so maybe we can lean in on those. That'd be fantastic, because at least then I have notes from other classes I can use. But that's for my Intro to Classics class. Again, I know absolutely nothing about what we're going to cover, except that it's a completely online course. I don't know. I feel like that's going to be the hard one, and that's saying something considering the sheer amount of books I have to read for one of these other classes. But I've had that teacher before, so I at least know she's really, really tough. The next two classes, it's hard to keep their books separate because they have this weird overlap. I'm taking Women in Literature and Southern Lit from Faulkner and After. Because I took Southern Lit last fall, and I really liked the class because the teacher did a good job of bringing in a lot of POC writings and writings from the time and the Restoration afterward, and I was introduced to a whole bunch of really new and interesting authors that way, so I knew that a serious like upperclassman class with her would be really good. But they both chose like very women-based and Southern-based writing, so I get confused as to which novel is for which class. So I'm going to do Women in Literature first because she has 3 novels. Now bear in mind, my classes start on August 19th. It's my first day of class. I only have Tuesday and Thursday all day long. I have to have 12 hours of my practicum class. I have no idea what the technology and education class is going to do right now. Like, no idea. So 3 novels from August 20th to like the last week of November for this one class. Super fun. But the first one, and all these are like really new releases. It's so cool. Like you think you're going to read like a bunch of old books when you do English as your major, and you do. I have read a lot of old books, but I really like reading classics. Like I kind of make a point to read as many classics as I can because there's a reason they are, whether it be for good reasons or for bad reasons. And I'm learning that the more classes I take. But hers are cool. This one is called Americana, and I'm going to butcher that name because I've never heard it out loud. So I'm going to hold it here so other people can see it and maybe say it. I feel like a bad person for not learning that beforehand, but if I try to say that out loud, it's going to be a bad day. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And I still may be mispronouncing that, and for apologies. I'll learn it by the end of the semester, you can bet. But it's based in America, like it's African refugees in America, and it's post 9/11. So I think it's going to have a lot to do with the African immigrant relation to being a woman in post 9/11 society. This book has that kind of cool texture to it. It's like a paperback, but it's like a textured paperback. I really like it. But this is really new. I think it was published in like 2014. So that's going to be a fun one. When I know more about it, I'll like delve into actually what we're going to talk about with it. This one, I work with fonts for a living. Like I work at a shop where I make graphic design and like fonts and stuff. And this cover isn't great. And it's not because the model on it isn't beautiful. And I want that really clear right now. But someone chose a really poor font and color choice. I really think that looks kind of cheap. Like this doesn't stand out enough to be what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like she's very direct. And it's got a faded background. Then you've got this really like chiller font kind of thing going here. And I just don't, it does not look good to me. But it's called Nervous Conditions. There's not a blurb. I don't know anything about it. It's just got other like reviews and author blurbs on it. I think I looked up a synopsis at one point, but I'd rather almost go in not knowing anything with a lot of these because they're going to want me to learn what they want anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The last one for her class is Salvage the Bones by Jessamine Ward, and we actually read a short story from her in my Southern Lit class last fall. So that's what I'm saying. There's like this weird crossover with these two classes that I think might come in handy. But this one is about a hurricane headed toward Mississippi. I think it's based on like Katrina, and it's this young girl trying to get her family ready for it, and it's like this kind of the approaching storm being literal and like a metaphor for things in their lives coming together. So and this is another one that like it's that weird like cool texture, but that's such a pretty cover to me. And again, all these are used. Don't spend money when you don't have to. I'm not going to be like my fellow students and go in the week of class and expect to save a bunch of money. They're going to have all the new books out. You go 2 weeks early, you buy the used books, you save a bunch of money. You use your refund on books like you're supposed to. I'm such an old lady. Okay, there's 6 books for the next class, which is the Southern Lit one with the same teacher I had last fall. She's really hard, but it's a fun class. Like I learned a lot, but she is very particular in what she expects from you in your essays and your tests. But again, I experienced a lot of new authors with her. I never read Ernest Gaines before. I never read Richard Wright. I did not know that Charles Chestnut existed, and he's from my state. Like I should have known about him. So I know that what I read is going to be good, and I know it's going to be really engrossing, so I don't really mind that it's 6 whole novels. But the first one is Bitter in the Mouth, and that looks like a gardenia. I think it's a gardenia. It might not be, but it looks like it to me. My mom grows them, so. This is based in North Carolina in the 80s, and I don't want to know a lot. I don't want to know a lot because they want you to know what they want you to know. So it's better just to wait and like they'll give you a quiz. You read the quiz questions and then you do the assigned reading. Like it's not hard, especially if you can read fast. Which I'm not like tooting my own horn for that. I've always been able to read fast, so I don't struggle in these classes like my classmates do. But that one's being based in North Carolina. I like books that are based in my home state because it helps me learn a little bit more about where I'm from and other people's experiences growing up at different times, you know, here. So, because I only know what it's like to be in the 90s and the 2000s and a white girl. So other people telling me what things are like is like, okay, cool. I never would have known that. The next one is another Ernest Gaines. We read A Gathering of Old Men last semester, and it was, oh, so good. I mean, it's heartbreaking, but it was like, it was really funny. It was a good book. So I'm actually looking forward to this one. It's Of Love and Dust. And it looks like it kind of has a relation with like sharecroppers and overseers, like Gathering of Old Men did. And again, I don't want to know anymore. It's Cajun. My teacher is from Louisiana, so she likes to bring up Gaines. She likes to teach Gaines because that's really where she's from. So she puts the North Carolina stuff in here for class because she knows a lot of us are from here. And she puts a lot of stuff from Louisiana because that's what she's familiar with. Because actually, I'm going to skip down the bottom of my pile. Tim Gautreau, it's Cajun. It's got to be Gautreau, right? My last name is Dupree. You think I'd know how to pronounce French names. But we're reading The Clearing. This one has no jacket. It's been used many times. So this is what I'm saying, no money. I'd get like a penny for this. And again, no synopsis, but it's got these fun deckled edges, and this was the nicest hardcover they had, and it was the same price as a soft cover. Why wouldn't you get the hard one? It's going to get beat up in my backpack anyway. So I know nothing about that one. The Clearing. Tim Gautreau. I don't know. Elizabeth Spencer, The Voice at the Back Door. This is in Mississippi. Again, it's oh, okay, cool. Again, it's a lot of relations between like black and white folks in the South. And I think she brings these in because our main book, since we're talking about Faulkner, is Absalom, which I know nothing of except it tells the story of the past of a family that's more or less reaching the end point of itself. You know, like the family, the sins of the family are tearing the family down, and so it's looking back at the past where the seeds of that have occurred. I've heard it's not easy. I even went to talk to her last spring when I said I wanted to take the class, and she's like, it's a really difficult one to get through, but she's pretty confident that the class can do it. I don't know. She's going to be my difficult teacher already, so it's not like that's surprising to me. And the last one is the one I'm most excited about. It's Charles Chestnut, The House Behind the Cedars. Charles Chestnut is a really famous author. He was from Fayetteville, North Carolina. He actually taught at Fayetteville State University, which is a historically black college university in North Carolina. He moved to Ohio to become a writer, and Charles Chestnut could have passed for white, but he chose to actively identify as African American in a time where that wasn't exactly a good thing. And he wrote about that experience, and he wrote about what it was like to pass. And that's what this book is about, is a brother and sister who could pass. And I believe, because she talked about this a little bit last fall, I believe it's like they are passing, but complications arise when people discover what they actually are. And it cannot be super positive. He's very hopeful. I read and actually have his book, The Morrow of Tradition, which was just heartbreaking. Like, it's based on the Wilmington race riots that happened in North Carolina, and it just goes from bad to worse. You just spend the whole book just knowing things are gonna be awful, and they are. But it ends sort of hopeful. So I'm hoping that this can be too. His Conjure Woman stories are amazing. I've read most of them, mainly for that class, but then I read a few in a short story class, because apparently people at ECU really like Charles Chestnut. So I'm into it, because I would never have known that that author existed if it wasn't for that class. So I'm pretty excited to maybe find some new authors that I like. I don't know. Again, the only one I've actually read anything from is Ernest Gaines and Chestnut and a little bit of Jessamine Ward. And those Greek plays. I don't know how that Greek class is going to go. We're just going to keep me in mind, because it's going to be hard. But those are the only books I have so far. The education class, I have to teach some. So that'll be great. I don't know anything about the technology and education, but I'm an old lady, so it can't be anything fun for me, because me and computers feud. I can't do it. I can't do it. But that is all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It was 13. I can't count. 13 books. All 13 books that I have to read for my fall 2019 semester. Okay, so I was editing and I took the time to look up the pronunciation of this author's name, and it is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And it is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Just as a personal note to myself and just to other people in general, if you can learn to pronounce crazy names like Tchaikovsky, you can take the time to learn an actor or poet or author's name that you're unfamiliar with. So, and Tim Gautreaux, I apologize for mispronouncing your name. You'd think that'd be easy for me, but it's not. But in the future, I'll try to correct myself and actually learn those before I make a video. You learn.